I'm Andrew, and you're watching the season catch-up for The Flash, Season 3. The CW superhero shows are coming back, and some more quickly than others. We say that figuratively, as The Flash is the fastest man alive, not counting those who are faster than him, and is returning for a 4th season on 10th October 2017. So to prepare yourself, you could binge watch the last season, or let us sum things up for you in a handy video. Season 3 opened with Flashpoint, both an event and an episode title. Barry Allen had saved his mother's life and altered time. In doing so, he'd captured Reverse Flash and locked him in a cage for the past 3 months. However, when Barry began to forget the world as it used to be and the people around him started getting hurt, he decided that he had to allow Eobard to murder his mum to restore the timeline.
There we go. Things are back to how they should be. Well, for me, anyway.
Unfortunately, the original timeline was brought back with some changes. Iris and Joe were in a fight, Star Labs had new areas, and Cisco's brother was killed by a drunk driver. What's more, metahumans from the Flashpoint timeline began to crop up, and Team Flash almost disbanded when they discovered what Barry had done so selfishly. The team discovered, with help from Barry's new partner at the CSI department, Julian, that someone called Dr. Alchemy was creating the metas that were turning up. The process resulted in a strange cocoon being left behind. With no idea of where he could be, they put that on the back burner while Barry trained Jessie. It turned out that she got powers from the dark matter explosion in Season 2, which only served to further irk Wally, who was the Flash in the Flashpoint timeline. Since Harry couldn't stay on Earth 1 forever, he devised a test to send out into the multiverse, with the aim of getting another Harrison Wells to come over for the sciencey stuff. This resulted in HR arriving from Earth 19, a world where coffee had died out years ago.
And we're all like, what was he gonna say? That's cool though. I'm starving. You guys have Big Belly Burger?
Harry and Jessie returned to Earth 2, just in time for Alchemy to target Wally, enticing him with the promise of speed powers. Before Flash could stop it, he was attacked by a being calling itself Savitar, the god of speed, with Wally ending up encased in a cocoon. Savitar handed Flash's rear to him at unimaginable speeds, then ran off, leaving Barry to deal with two things. Wally being in a cocoon with no way of knowing how to get him out, and Caitlin being in meta this entire time, with ice powers that she was steadily losing control of. Caitlin, becoming more and more like Killer Frost as she'd feared, interrogated one of Alchemy's followers, and eventually kidnapped Julian. Since Alchemy could give powers, she wanted him to remove hers. Flash came to the rescue, knocked out Julian, who had already hated him, and calmed down Caitlin. Later at the hospital, Barry pled with Julian not to press charges against Caitlin, which he agreed to so long as Barry quit the CCPD. He hated Flash for being a vigilante, but he also hated Barry for showing no work ethic by frequently leaving work. Episode 8 was part 3 in a 4-part crossover with Supergirl, Arrow, and the Legends of Tomorrow. America was invaded by an alien race known as Dominators, so Barry went to Earth 38 to get Supergirl, as well as Team Arrow, and sent out a call for the Legends.
I'm sorry,
It's
man.
okay.
Once the alien threat had been dealt with, Team Flash returned to Central City and Barry decided to get help against Savitar, who only he had been able to see thus far. He sought out Jay from Earth 3 to help, and together they sealed the Philosopher's Stone in a box, banishing Savitar to the Speed Force. Unfortunately, it had the consequence of sending Barry 5 months into the future, where he saw Iris murdered by Savitar before returning. Barry decided to try and change the future by stopping things he saw in a future news report from happening. He let Wally, now Kid Flash, capture a villain called Plunder, and had a list of things to cross off, hoping to at least prove that they could avoid Iris' death.
Nothing is set in stone.
We were introduced to an interdimensional bounty hunter called Gypsy. She tried to kill HR for leaving his universe, but was instrumental in helping Gorilla Grodd attack Central City. She also helped defeat him and had the excuse that she was under mind control at the time. Meanwhile, Wally had been seeing flashes of Savitar, which the team discovered was due to Caitlin keeping part of the Philosopher's Stone. She'd been hoping to use it to get rid of her own powers, but Savitar pulled some reverse psychology on Wally and convinced him to throw it into Speed Force, which was what Savitar needed to escape and imprison Wally. Barry entered the Speed Force to save Wally, but was told that with Savitar gone, someone needed to stay in place of him. Although Barry tried to sacrifice himself, Jay turned up at the last minute, telling Barry to save Iris.
You don't like the future, Flash? Change it.
The next episode saw time-travelling Flash adversary Abracadabra appear, being chased by Gypsy. Kadabra caused an explosion, wounding Caitlin, who had been wearing a necklace designed to keep her powers at bay. With her injuries killing her, Julian ripped off the necklace, which healed her, but also turned her into Killer Frost. She escaped Star Labs and met up with Savitar as Barry travelled to the year 2024, seeking the real identity of Savitar. The future Team Flash were broken, with Iris gone, Wally's spine shattered, and Caitlin now 100% Killer Frost.
Whoa, wait, did it not work? Do we need to try again?
Determined to stop this future from coming to pass, Barry returned to 2017 with knowledge of a woman named Tracy who was working on a Speed Force trap, aka Speed Force Bazooka, which they would use to capture Savitar. After rescuing Tracy from Killer Frost, Barry realised that he knew who Savitar was. He confronted him and discovered that yes, he was Barry Allen wearing a metal suit. Or rather, a time remnant from when Barry defeated Savitar in the future. It's a little convoluted, but Savitar went crazy in the Speed Force and decided to kill Iris. If he couldn't have her because he wasn't the real Barry, then nobody could. With work completed on the Speed Force Bazooka, but only 24 hours until Iris was destined to die, Barry took Captain Cold from 1892 to help him steal a power source from Argus.
Hero of Central City. This is Siberia in the year 1892. We're a little out of your jurisdiction.
Yeah.
They retrieved it, and Flash confronted Savitar in Infantino Street, blasting the villain, who protected himself with the Philosopher's Stone and stabbed Iris before escaping. Barry cradled Iris only to discover it was HR, who had demonstrated a face-changing technology earlier in the season. He died from his wounds, but knowing that he saved Iris' life. Savitar kidnapped Cisco to force him to make a device which could splinter him across the entire of time and space, but Cisco double-crossed him and it freed Jay from the Speed Force. Barry Flash, Kid Flash and Jay Flash took on Savitar, but he evaded them and tried to kill Cisco, which Killer Frost took exception to, blasting Savitar. Flash came back and forced him out of his suit, then destroyed it. With moments left before he blinked out of existence, Savitar leapt at Flash, only to get shot in the back by Iris. The next day, after a funeral for HR, a Speed Force storm began raging across Central City. With nobody in the Speed Force prison, it threatened to tear the Earth apart. Unwilling to allow anyone else to sacrifice themselves, Barry said his goodbyes and happily entered the Speed Force, leaving Wally the mantle of the Flash. And that's where Season 3 ended. Of course, we know that can't be where Barry's story ends, so tune in on 10th October for the season premiere on the CW in the US, and later in the month on Sky One in the UK. Before we let you go, we'd just like to highlight the episode Duet, which is part 2 of a crossover with Supergirl and a musical episode. Grant Gustin, Melissa Benoist and Darren Cross, who played the villain, were all series regulars on the musical show Glee, so it would have been wrong to have all three in an episode and not have them sing.
Come on now, maybe just one little fun opening number just to
Leave your jacket on.
kick things off.
Seeing them break into song alongside Joe, Cisco, Dr. Stein and Wynn, not to mention Malcolm Merlin, may not have heavily influenced the season's story, but it certainly brought something different to fans. It was definitely the standout for Season 3.
Iris West, will you marry me?
Yes.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss future season catch-ups and for more of our amazing content.